How we doing, ladies, gents, and teddy bears? Welcome to our Ted Coningsby show. Hope we're all good and well. Let me just move that teddy. Don't think we need that up here, do we? Well, welcome to RAF Mildenhall, ladies, gents, and teddy bears. And as we were setting up, we got this Embraer Phenom from RAF Cranwell doing a few circuits. think we've got a C-17 on its way back as well. So welcome to RAF Mildenhall, ladies, gents and teddy bears. United States Air Force in Europe base, part of the 3rd Air Force, just like Lakenheath. Still keeping positive, all the things going on, and we'll talk to you a little bit shortly. A little bit cooler today. RAF Mildenhall operates the CV-22 Osprey, the KC-135, the C-146 Wolfhound, and the MC-130J Commando 2. And also there are various RC-135s as well that operate from here with the 95th Reconnaissance, so part of the 55th wing. This one here is a Royal Air Force aircraft, a training aircraft, where a similar layout will give the student pilot feel for the layout for an A400, for example, in the cockpit. And on completion, successful, they'll be heading off to RAF Brize Norton to train. And oh, look at this. They'll go with 24 Squadron, which are an OCU, Operational Conversion Unit, for the heavies, such as the A400, of course, and the C-17. Just looking out for the C-17, it is nearby. Got plenty of heavies as well dotted about. I see 17 there just now. before landing the C-17 Globemaster, powered by the Pratt & Whitney F-117s, huge turbofans producing 40,400 pounds of thrust. Now, to put that into perspective, that's like a Eurofighter on each engine plus 400 pounds. Why not? Notice the P-38 on the tail there. I'm sure it's a P-38 Lightning, not a P-61. I mean, to put this into perspective, should this pilot be successful in their training and qualify, that C-17 is potentially what they're going to be moving on to. Come on, Creners. And we see this quite a lot doing practice diversions at Waddington, Marham, and of course here. Going around for another circuit. Oh, hello. Quite a few heavies here, aren't there? 2? Yeah, it is. We're a little bit subsided here. Let me just sort that. Which means one of my legs are out. Not mine, personally, but... Okay. What's going on here? Hello, hello. Dear with me, my tripod's having a moment. I guess we all do, don't we? Well, welcome to the Ted Coningsby channel. How are we all doing, ladies, gents and teddy bears? I hope we're all good and well. Yes, 99.1k. Welcome to Mildenhall, as we dub it. A place to chill, a place to enjoy Mildenhall's heavies, and of course it's dubbed as Childenhall here. But you can hear the birds tweeting away. Very relaxing, it really is. And the good thing about it is that you don't know what you're going to get. Now, let me see. Now with the nature, this is really much why we've yeah, so one of the reasons that we've stopped doing our weekly NOTEDs is the nature of military aviation. We are literally chasing aircraft. Now, how do we know information like this? Well, you have to kind of take it like a pinch of salt. It really is. It really is the nature of it. And Ted will tell you that things like this do happen. Ted, you all right, mate? Where's your flag, man? Oh, you got it down there. We'll go and get your flag in a second for the Guards marches. One sec. My name's Nikos, cameraman and commentator and historian for the Ted Coningsby channel. Hope you're good. Welcome to RAF Mildenhall. It is a USAF base, United States Air Force in Europe. Welcome, welcome, welcome. A base that dates its history all the way back to 1934, originally planned as RAF Beck Row, but this didn't happen, of course. It was changed to Mildenhall. Oh, it's just there. Oh, that's all right. Thought we didn't bring it. We have got Ted's flag. Teddy, on the case, mate. Oh, hello. So yes, it allows us to react. Okay, so for those wondering about the NOTED, it allows us to react. Yes, there are lots of rumours here and there of certain things, and some are sort of advertised like exercises and things, but some of them we just have to just chance it. And today we may have to do that as well. And Davey H, welcome to the Ted Coningsby Squadron, a high five and a Guards march. The Greenall family as well, high five. Guards march, welcome to the Ted Coningsby Squadron. Liquid, welcome as well, high five to you, welcome to the Ted Coningsby Squadron. Cavi Swift, welcome as well, high five. All these new recruits joining the Ted Coningsby Squadron. It really does help. Click join to have a look for some more info. If you wish to become a member of the Ted Coningsby Squadron, it really does help and fund our channel a way to support us. James McNally as well, look, high five, Guards March, thank you for joining us. And our members stay with us, okay? They stay with us and support us. Such as Daniel Walker, celebrating 24 months of membership. In fact, he's part of our Ted Coningsby Fighter Squadron. Thank you very much. There are 3 different levels of membership that you can enjoy. Starts from $1.99 a month. What a ride, he's put. Enjoy every minute with you all. Here's to more of the same. Guards March. Newbie flies around Scotland. Guards March. Margot Baxter, thanks for the super chat. Guards March, morning TCS. For and on behalf of those celebrating biggie milestones, absolutely. And yesterday I was delighted to see someone with a grey badge next to their name. Now, what does that colour mean? Well, each colour represents a different milestone, or at least how long they've been serving the Ted Coningsby Squadron on any level. And grey means, 36 months. That's 3 years. That is amazing. Colin, member for 9 months, Guards March. 9 months have already flown by. It seems that the older you get, the faster time goes. Alan Stratton, high five, paw pump, and a salute for that incredible. We'll stick in a fly past as well for that. What an absolute beauty of a super chat. Guards March, thank you very much. Babsar, high five, Guards March. Thank you for gifting a Ted Coningsby membership. Babsar, a regular, big supporter of the channel, has now gifted a membership as well. Guards March. Stuart G, enjoying 4 months of membership. Morning all. 4 great months with this channel. Davey, celebrating a whopping 28 months, nearly 100k. Keep sharing and caring. Oh yeah. We are the #1 military aviation streaming channel, and we'd like to keep it that way. So thank you for all of you who have supported the channel, such as Cody Whitlock, celebrating 20 months today. That is incredible. Thank you so much. Right, let's have a looky here. Now, as I kind of hinted there, our show here today could be short-lived, all right? We may move on to another base place, and this is how it all works with military aviation. Sometimes you've got to take a chance on these things. We are live tomorrow, but watch this space. Keep your notification bell button on, because with military anything can happen. So I'd like to keep that notification bell button on and get ready. All right, I'll probably schedule the stream around midday, when I'll probably know for sure if it's going to go ahead or not. It could still cause a rumble, so enjoy. It's a different type of planning now, and just want you to all enjoy what we can get you. It's literally like storm chasing, but with planes. You know it is proper. We are in the Nook campsite, ladies, gents and teddy bears, and like I mentioned earlier, with all the things going on in the world, do be vigilant, do be watchful, do take notes of anything that you think could be potentially suspicious. Write it down, do it discreetly, and report it. It's the only way we're going to tackle this to, make sure that we're all safe. And we could do so much behind the fence, rather than let things happen in the fence, if that makes sense. We have to keep a watchful eye. A recommendation from the base is to not touch the fence, so just don't rest your ladders on it, because that can damage it. Don't touch the fence, just keep a distance. I've kept a distance so that should the worst, I mean absolute worst, I trip and fall, I'm not going to actually fall over there. I will just take a little tumble below. All these little things I do take mind, anyone that you think is attempting to fly a drone or anything suspicious like that, people that just really aren't interested in the aircraft and up to no good, just do it discreetly. Just get in your vehicle or just cycle away and just write it all down. There's numbers on the fence that you can ring if it is to report any drones straight away to the authorities. This is a hobby that we love, and we don't want that to be spoiled by other people for whatever their reasons, because this day and age you just don't know what goes through people's minds, and we don't want to be on the receiving end of not being able to do what we all love. Military aviation, it's relaxing, it's fun, it inspires photography, it inspires good well-being for our mental health. I mean, I've got a theory with the scientific side of things, with the frequencies produced by the aircraft. I think it actually makes you feel good. If music can make you feel good, bass can make you feel good, higher frequencies or lower frequencies even can actually make you feel good. So I'm thinking, well, put that in an aircraft in sight of your eyes, as well as the lovely tones and sounds, then I've got a good feeling that there is a bit of science with that. So there we go. You know, and someone just mentioned community, quite right. Just a big thank you to all those that message me behind the scenes of potential movements, this and that.
Oh.
Hi, sir. How we doing, ladies, gents and teddy bears? Hope we're all good. Welcome to the show. Just gonna go and just grab a quick cup of tea. I'll be right back, all right? Oh, that's a lovely cut of tea jacket. Right, I'll be on the show in a second. Just gonna enjoy this quick cup of tea and I'll be on. We'll have a little chat. Sorry about that. Alright, ladies, gents and teddy bears, how are we all doing? My name's Nikos, I'm your cameraman and commentator. Got a feeling something's on the move, it sounds like it. Something started up anyway. There we go. Let's get this level. I don't know why, but the terrain that I normally park on, it's on the wobble. How we doing, ladies, gents and teddy bears? Hope we're all good and well. Yeah, I could definitely hear something started up. But how we doing, ladies, gents and teddy bears? Hope we're all good. So there's a lot of talk about of course, we don't really invite too much speculation and rumours on the show. But do you know what? Let's pick one on the agenda, because it is quite exciting if it is true. It is really exciting. And it's something I've spoken about, potentially why maybe a couple of years ago we didn't really have a theory, or at least had one, but we weren't really sure what goes on, because obviously we're just aviation enthusiasts. We can only just guess and assume, right? But the big thing on the agenda, which is appearing on a lot of the news, about the potential purchase of the F-35A. Now, the reason is that, you know, having I won't say the name of a couple of news channels that have highlighted this, but at the end of the day, they're not the Ministry of Defence, right? They're you know, if you sometimes they get the aircraft wrong on the picture. All right, so that's all I'm going to say. So what I'm trying to get at is the fact that, okay, this seems to pop up a few times. It's like the horse theory, isn't it? Like, you're probably thinking, horse theory? What the hell is he on about? Well, I've got this theory that if you get called, if you get called a horse, you know, you just ignore it. If you get called a horse again, and you think, did I hear that twice? And if you get called a horse for the third time, then perhaps maybe it's time to go and get some stables. So I'm thinking this is popping up quite a few times. So you know, and they are major news channels. They're not your, like, I don't know, ones that really want to, you know, write stuff like that. So the F-35A is potentially on the cards. Now, what I was thinking, just to give it a little bit of fun, because this is a fun military aviation channel, and to be honest, that'd be great, wouldn't it? F-35As, right? But here's what I want you to do. Right, I want you, okay, I'm sure this is okay to say this, I'm pretty sure it's fine. Is it? Yeah, I'll tell you, I'll word it in a nice way, yeah? How's that? If you were to bring back a squadron then to operate the F-35A, so obviously there's going to be a squadron that's going to operate it. There could potentially be an operational conversion unit, or will they merge 207 with both? I don't know. Again, we are not going to be the ones to speculate any of this, but if you were to bring back a squadron to fly the F-35A, what would it be? It's a bit of fun. Again, there is no truth behind it. I don't have any information on to say this is 100%. This is just a bit of fun, okay? This is, you know, these are ideas that are just going to create fun. All right, it's a fun way. So for me, I'd like, okay, so if I was to pick a squadron to come back to fly the, obviously it has potentially, I think it has to be a squadron that's kind of disbanded at the moment, maybe, I don't know, but it doesn't matter. This is why we're not going to go into too much details of, no, they can't fly it because of this and that. Let's just make this up. This is just a bit of fun. Put down what squadron you'd like and why as well. So if you've already put it down, just, we'd like to hear why you'd like them back. So for me, I will start the ball rolling for me. There are two, okay, that I'd like, or at least maybe more, but I'll explain. I'd like 44 Squadron and 97 Squadron. Reasons for that? Well, because I talk about them all the time. All right, so 97 at Coningsby and 44 with the history of having the very first Lancaster, that kind of thing, and we speak about them at Waddington. Both squadrons speak about them at Waddington, the connection with the both squadrons with the Augsburg raid, and so on. So you know, 97 Squadron, you know, with history of being at Waddington and Coningsby, that kind of thing. So I'd really, that's my reasons. Or at least then any squadron that I'm fingers crossed, if this does happen, fingers crossed, for a squadron that I speak about. All right, so for example, 106 Squadron from Metheringham and Coningsby, that kind of thing, you know, that'd be pretty cool. You know, all these little, you know, squadrons that we speak about that are no longer, that are currently disbanded, you know, it'd be a nice way to continue the chapter of history, you know what I mean? That would be really cool. So I'm gonna have a look at your comments and just see. Let's have a look what we've got here. We've got 74 Squadron. Yeah, that's 101. They're still active. Yes, 101 Squadron, David, they fly the Voyager at Brize Norton. Let's have a look. Let me scroll back. We've got 633. There's a couple of 74 squadrons here. Mark Dudley's 617 are still flying. But if that's what you like, that's what you like. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. I'm just trying to have a look. Let's have a little 76 Squadron by Nicholas Wakeland. There's a few of you putting down 74. That's quite cool. Not Captain Weber 633. That's funny. Treble 1 Simon John 2003. That's a good one. Treble 1 Squadron. That's good. Stephen Huntley says 202. Dave Holloway 616. Let's have a look what else we got. We've got Mark Moody saying 44 Squadron wouldn't be a bad shout. Or 9 Squadron. But they do have Typhoons. Alan Burden says 617. Paul Norman. Nice. Yeah, I don't think they'll have my blue tack featured on there. But Mark Garwood as well. Another one with 74 Squadron. There's a lot here. That 303. 43 as well. So 2 Squadron are still flying today, so they fly Typhoons at Lossiemouth. Got 43 Squadron from Margot. 6 Squadron who are still flying. They operate the Typhoon at Coningsby. Got 487 Squadron from Jamie. A lot of you are actually saying they have actually officially announced it, which is pretty cool. Okay, cool. There you go. That sounds great then. So we can go ahead and safely say that's fine. And 43 Squadron, yeah, that's another good shout. 3 Squadron at Coningsby. 111 sounds good. 56 Squadron, the Firebirds. Yeah, it's great, isn't it? It is quite exciting for, you know, to have that concept that we could potentially, I would have thought so, naturally, have another squadron. So that'd be quite nice. That'd be really good. That'd be cool. Another aircraft to add. I mean, they are different. And check this out, more howls, eh? Like the Vulcan. So that would be quite nice, wouldn't it? That'd be really cool, man. That'd be really, really good. Looking forward to this. I don't know how long it takes for this to go ahead, but of course we will do our best to make sure that, you know, hopefully catch the first arrivals, wherever they're going to be based. Potentially, I guess, Marham, but we shall see. We don't know that bit. I don't know, unless you guys have heard it from the official website or anything like that, but sounds pretty good. Sounds pretty good. A lot of you are saying that it's actually officially on the MOD site, so wow, if that's the case, then cool. So we can definitely allow that. That's quite a nice one. Again, this is a family channel, so keep it sweet and neat in the chat rooms. But how exciting is that, isn't it? I don't think they've announced a squadron yet, have they? That I'm pretty sure. I haven't come across anything like that, but that will be quite nice. I mean, I do love the F-35A. You know, it's agility and the way it moves. So, you know, cool. Welcome another new aircraft, right? That'd be lovely. Would have been pretty cool if we had another base place, but you know, that's asking for too much from plane spotters, right? What do we know? But there we go. Well, that's quite exciting then. If it is confirmed, then wow. So all is good. Let's sort this tripod out. It's a little bit on the wobbly. God, look at that heat haze. It's starting to get a little bit warmer now. It's a bit cooler today, which is good. I'll take that. But thanks for joining in. Yes, we can definitely hear an aircraft engine running. So the history does date back right towards the end of 1920, 1929, when the land was purchased and constructions began in 1930. Late 1930 as well, and as I mentioned, the base was originally going to be RAF Beckrow, but that changed. No idea on the reasons behind it. More than likely, usually it's to do with a base that's actually similar named, very similarly named, so you don't get confused by them, like Yelverton and Yeovilton, which is why RAF Harrowby came to be instead of Yelverton. Even I get mixed up just trying to say the two towns together, things like that. But for whatever the reason, it was decided to be called Mildenhall. Same with Brize Norton. It was meant to be RAF Carterton, but they changed the name to Brize Norton. I think it was in confusion with Cardington or something like that. But that's what usually causes a different name to what it's started out to be. But the base was built and completed, and it opened on October the 16th, 1934. The base was officially dedicated on the 19th, so just 3 days later, in 1934. Queen Mary, the Prince of Wales, and the Duke of York, they were there with the King during the Mildenhall's dedication. And it was on the same day that Wing Commander F.J. Linnell, OBE, he assumed the position of the base, because it was built and functioned as a Royal Air Force station. It was dedicated to a bomber command group as well. Although number 5 group actually formed here a month later, they moved. They moved to Vincent's Hall near Grantham. And in the end, a little switch. I don't know why they were only here for a month, which was interesting. It's on the 1st of September 1937, and then a month later, in October 1937, they actually moved, and Mildenhall was under the command of number 3 Group Bomber Command. This whole region has its roots to Bomber Command. It was one of the largest Bomber Command stations, not the largest, but one of. Has its links with the the Vickers Wellington bomber. A lot of the stained glass windows commemorate the Wellington and the Sterling as well. And then the very first sort of operations here was actually a civilian one. And I've mentioned before the England to Australia, also more accurately, the Mildenhall to Melbourne air race. It was part of the Royal Aero Club's prestigious race, the Mildenhall to Melbourne race, the Mac Robertson air race from Mildenhall to Melbourne, and it drew around 70,000 spectators to witness the events of both the King and the Queen, all here. There was 20 aircraft began the race at Mildenhall. They flew 11,300 miles to Melbourne. I know, completed it in 70 hours 54 minutes. They won around £10,000 of 1934 money. Wow, £10,000 in 1934 money is what, a million? About that? Is that about £1 million, or have I got that wrong? Is it about 300,000? It's either 300,000 or a million, or completely wrong. What do you reckon? Oh dear. But yeah, it was won by Tom Campbell Black and CWA Scott, and they flew the de Havilland Comet, the DH-88 Grosvenor House, which still flies today, would you believe? It actually still flies today, and you can see it flying at Old Warden Aerodrome at the Shuttleworth collection. First operational unit arrive didn't happen until November the 15th, 1934. It was number 99 Squadron, who today fly the C-17, so the aircraft that we just seen, which is these here. So yeah, they operate at Brize Norton, number 99. The second operational squadron activated on the 16th of September 1935, and this was kind of formed from the B flight of 99, and they were named, or numbered, number 38 Bomber Squadron. And the first aircraft, which I don't have here, was the wonderful Handley Page Hayford bomber, named after Upper Hayford, where it was made. And it's a huge biplane, I know, but a bomber. Imagine that. So if you don't know what it looks like, a little Google search engine search there, have a look. So 38 Squadron and number 40 Squadrons, they were here operating the Hayford. And soon they would transition into Fairey Hendon night bombers. And then, of course, September the 3rd, 1939, 3 days after the invasion of Poland, Britain, France. They declared war, and 3 Wellington bombers from 149 Squadron took off to bomb the German battleships at the Kiel Canal. Now 149 Squadron, they formed from part of 99 as well. This isn't unusual. You can get like a B and a C flight, and then they can become their own squadron. Sometimes they can be they can create their own sort of heavy conversion unit or operational training units as well. And it was the Vickers Wellington bomber that 149 Squadron, but eventually, along with 199, when they arrived here, they moved to RAF Lakenheath, and that was between the 41, 42 and 43. So it was the Vickers Wellington that did its first operational mission of the Mildenhall squadrons, and it was a bombing raid at the Kiel. It's a stretch of waterway, for those who don't know, that links the North Sea to the Baltic Sea. That was just 6 hours, and they took off and went on a raid with the Vickers Wellington. Now, the Vickers Wellington bomber, has a pretty good history. Of course, twin engine bombers did kind of become sort of redundant in some. I'm not redundant. That's probably the wrong word. They were more. It was more favoured to have the 4-engine bombers, and they were building these at an absolute rate of 28 of these a week. Now, let's talk a little bit about the airframe itself first of all. Now, the airframe was actually designed by Barnes Wallis. Now, you can see the sort of chain link fence here. Now, what I want you to imagine, you can see a little bit here, look. I can see what they've done here, look. The chain link fence giving us a bit of geodetic airframe. Now, the wings, and I don't know if you've ever seen the geodetic airframe, imagine that chain link fence as the fuselage and the wings here. It was designed by Barnes Wallis, the man and the legend that designed the bouncing bomb and the high ball as well, by the way, for another secret squadron, which was actually 618 Squadron, but they were working on designing the high ball to take out the Tirpitz, but that didn't go ahead. In fact, the squadron was so secret they didn't even have a squadron badge with that. But it was Barnes Wallis that designed the geodetic airframe for the Wellington. The Wellington, they made this in about, I think, 16 different variants. Way over 11,400 of these were made, and it served right through the war. It was manufactured from 36 to 45, so it did see its first flight on the 15th of June 1936, and in 1943 at the Broughton factory, men and women stayed all night for 24 hours, in fact 23 hours 50 minutes, to beat a world record, to assemble a bomber and fly it. They assembled a bomber and beat a world record. The world record at the time to assemble a bomber was 48 hours. Wow, Broughton, they managed to do that in 23 hours 50 minutes, ladies, gents, teddy bears, a world record. Now, the Vickers Wellington Mark 1C, that had the Bristol Pegasus engines, but other Marks, I think it was the Mark II, may have had a, let me check, what the Mark III and other various Marks had the Bristol Hercules, that had more power. Now, the original had the Bristol Pegasus engines. Now, they were rated at 1,050 horsepower. Bomb load for these were 4,500, so it could take, what, 9 500-pound bombs, or don't know how big. I don't know if it was able to take one cookie bomb. I'm not sure if they were designed that loading bay, that bomb bay, sorry, not loading bay, the bomb bay, good, large enough for that. I'll have to have a look at the weapons bay. I'm going to say no. No, I'll tell you why, because I've just remembered that on my model at home, there is a divider that goes here, and there's no way they could fit a there's no way they could fit a 4,000 pound bomb. It's a bit like the Sterling bomber, right? Although it could take 14,000 pounds of bombs, they put the divider right here, and you could only fit a maximum of 2,000 pound bombs. So that, when you know, that was kind of like, oh dear, you're not going to be able to take heavy bombs for that. But this, like I said, this did the first operational mission of Mildenhall with the Wellington on the 3rd, and it was just a few hours into it. So that's quite nice to see the Wellington bomber. Yeah, I think the Mark II may have had Merlin engines, you know. I'm probably thinking of the Halifax. You know, after like studying various aircraft, I don't just specialise on one. I do get sort of entwined and sort of muddled up sometimes, but do you know what, just to put me out of my curiosity, let me check the Mark II. Mark II, oh, it was Type 406 Wellington Mark II. There you go, Rolls-Royce Merlin X engine. 401 were produced at Weybridge. Well, check that out. And then Mark III, correct, Bristol Hercules. I'm doing all right here, aren't I? Oh, look at this. The Mark IV had the Pratt & Whitney's Twin Wasp. Whoa, I bet that sounded quite nice. Very nice. Of course, served with Coastal Command as well, and various other units. So, along with military operations, Mildenhall was chosen for a couple of films, one being a propaganda film, The Lion Has Wings, also Target for Tonight, and featured 149 aircraft here, they're Wellingtons, but they didn't call it Mildenhall for security reasons on the film. They called it Middle, they could have called it Milton or something, RAF Milton. But I can't remember the name, but they changed the name, and there we go. And then early 1940, 149 conducted its first night bombing on the 18th of January. Now, previously, of course, as we know, the Royal Air Force conducted targets daylight bombing raids, but this changed to nighttime. Now, it wasn't total nighttime bombing missions, by the way. The Royal Air Force did predominantly do the nighttime raids, but they did do some daylight bombing, so it wasn't total exclusion from daylight, by the way. And this was the thing. So, you know, hang on, let me get to the Sterling, by the way, before we get to that, and I'll explain a little bit about that actually. So it was the nearly a year later, November the 2nd, 1941, 149 traded its Wellington bombers for the new Sterling bomber. These were the first Sterling bombers permanently stationed at Mildenhall, and I'll just show you, and you know, it's quite interesting. I'm just going to show you a little bit about the Halifax as well, right? I'm going to explain, because that will tie in quite nicely with that quote with the daylight night timing bombing. So here we go. So of course, as we know, the main daylight raid, the proper raid into Germany by the Royal Air Force was the Augsburg raid, which was in April 1942, on the 16th to 17th. Okay, so this 16th, sorry, and I'm thinking a nighttime bombing. This was daylight. It wasn't like that. I'm just going to double check a little thing about that. This is the Halifax bomber, and I just need to check something for you. Hang on, because this, I'm pretty sure they switched engines on this as well. One sec. Yeah, 17th of April 1942 was the Augsburg raid, and I was thinking of a different raid there on the 16th into the night for the 17th, and it was a different day in that one, but here we go. So the Royal Air Force were predominantly doing at first daylight bombing, because you could see the target, right? I mean, who, with all the technology that you've got, but then when you start doing different tactics, then you need the technology to go with it. So here comes the second operational 4-engine bomber, the RAF. We do have this. Oh, I forgot my Sterling. That'll be why. Go fate. Forgot my Sterling. I'm going to have to go and show you the Sterling bomber in a moment. But because they were doing daylight bombing, some engines produced a lot of flames, okay, which is why if you have a look at some of the pictures, okay, so we got Just Jane and PA 474, you can see the exhausts coming out, right, on the Merlin engines. Now at night these would be bringing out, producing flames. In the daylight wasn't really an issue, okay, so they didn't think about that. So the earlier Halifaxes did actually have, I think it was the Mark II again, they did actually have Merlin engines on these, and when they switched to nighttime bombing, they soon realised that the flames produced on these were a bit of an issue. And I've read some stories about German night fighters just going, could see the flames, could see, you know, good 4 or 8 of them, I think either side, so you just aim in the middle, job done. And when they come down from above or below, you know, when they were attacking the Lancasters, if they saw the 8, I know it was pitch black, they just aimed in the middle, okay, so that was a bit of a flaw, but only because they switched and didn't think about the consequences. So they would switch to the Bristol Hercules engines, which, you know, had dampeners on there. But you could think, well, why not keep the Rolls-Royce Merlins and put the dampeners on there? One slight snag, they were very draggy, all right? That was the other problem. You start adding weight to your aircraft. Already you're trying to save weight because you're trying to put a payload in there. So that was the problem. And I've actually forgotten my short Sterling bomber, which I'm going to go and get, because I would like to just talk about that while we can. But the very first 4-engine bomber was actually going to be the Supermarine 317. I know we were going to have a Supermarine bomber, but sadly with the death of R.J. Mitchell and with the 2 prototypes actually getting destroyed in a bombing raid over the factory, it kind of like led on to the favour of the S-29, which was the short Sterling bomber. They were both built under the Air Ministry's go away, Wasp. That's how you get rid of them. You just tell them. They're usually quite smart, or are they? They like beer, don't they? They usually, you know, they're built to a specification. Now, the Halifax and the Lancaster were built for a different specification to the short Sterling. Let me just go and get you the short Sterling, which was built under B1236, and they were both doing it. And this is where the myth, which I've busted, because although I began, you know, telling you about the hangar myth, it is actually a myth. It's not actually true about the hangars, and I did discover that, and I had a look, did some digging, and I had a look at the Air Ministry. I had a look at the specifications, you know, when they were built, because each bomber was built to a specification supplied by the Air Ministry, and it led me on for one thing and then on to another. A little bit quiet on the old radio here at Mildenhall. Can we even get to the Sterling? Here's something I haven't shown you before. Oh goodness me. I hope this doesn't break. We'll do our best. I'm going to put this back as soon as I can, but so the Short brothers, they had some wonderful aircraft, to be honest, and for me I'm starting to really see the positivity of the Short or the S-25 Sunderland bomber. I'm going to just quickly show you this. I know, you know, plates and Greeks, they don't really go, do they? So I'm going to quickly show you this. This is a Short Sunderland bomber which I got from Metheringham. Now I'm holding this with dear life. It's a lovely shot over, what's that, St. Michael's Mount by the look of it, over Marazion. But look at that. Now the Air Ministry were given, you know, this was built under the R233. So this was proposed in 1933, and it's got a lot of the Short Stirling bomber, and that is an actual truth. Now the Short Sunderland, which was a fantastic aircraft, because I was looking at that wonderful that story when it avoided the Ju-88s, which was quite fascinating, and the fact that this was a flying boat, which meant it could go really low, you know, over the sea, and the Ju-88s couldn't get it because they were in a risk of, should they dive, they were in a risk of crashing into the sea. So it actually got a few, you know, I think it scored a victory with that. I don't know if you know the story, but this was under attack by 6 Ju-88s, a single, I think it was Enford Nuts, I think the story. I'm going to come back to that in a moment. I mean, it had a speed of 210, a cruise speed of 178, service ceiling of, you know, it had a bigger service ceiling, a larger service ceiling than the Short Stirling at 17,200. It did have up to 12 guns, okay. You know, it wasn't as fast as the other bombers, but it was powered by 2 Bristol Pegasus, same as the Stirling, same as the other first sort of 4-engine bombers, and the early 2-engine bombers as well, such as the Handley Page Hampden as well. So, you know, it was amazing. But what I want to get at is the wingspan at 112 feet. This was the problem. There was a lot of aircraft with very, very large wingspans. I had a look at old drawings of a specification, sorry, the dimensions of hangars. I think they had an easy 112 feet. Easy 112 feet at the hangars of during World War II. So that's one myth debunked there regarding. I need to put this down because I'm going to break it, I think. Hang on. But yeah, a wonderful story, by the way. Let me just put this away, just really quickly. I'm going to show you what the transformation with that Short Sunderland to the Short Stirling. So 3 years later, the Air Ministry, along with Supermarine, which was the 317. Now you can probably, I don't know if you can see, I should have had it next to it. I should have had that. Now, you know the Short Sunderland that I showed you. It is, if you look at it again, they're very, very similar. So they removed the lower deck, okay? They actually, let me check the, do you know what I wanted to check was the length. The length, 85 feet 4 inches. Let me check the Stirling, because I can't remember if they're very similar. 87 feet 3 inches. So the Stirling wasn't, you know, not that far out. So what they did, they basically used the Sunderland frame, extended it a little bit. They kept this angle here on the Sunderland, and they added that to the Stirling. It was to stop a lot of sea spray. Now they got rid of the bottom hull, and the lower deck. They trimmed that off. Now the specification this was built at B1236, okay, did say that not exceeding 100 feet. Now there was a leeway. You could actually get away with an extra 2 or 3 feet, okay. I did have a look at the old Air Ministry specification on B1236. Now, it was nothing to do with the hangars, because they had hangars that can do 112 feet. I think it was just put in place because there was a lot of aircraft with large wingspans. Okay, so they built this to 99 feet. All right, wingspan. They did thicken it. They did thicken the wings, because if you imagine the proportion of the length of this thing, it's amazing. Look at the length of it. But the problem was it didn't have the service ceiling. Now, here's the problem that I just noticed on the Wellington. Of course, you can only work with what's out there. They didn't really make them too future-proof. This was the problem. Although the specification was to have 14,000 pound of bombs, it did. The problem was they put a divider here, and you could only fit 2,000 pound bombs. What were they making? They were making 4,000 pound cookie, 8,000 pound cookie bombs, 14,000 pound tall boys, and so on and so on. So you could only fit 2,000 pound bombs here. That's all you could get in there, and fully loaded, fully fueled. Unfortunately, could only take it to a service ceiling of 16,500. However, we like to bring things into light, because it did have some positives. In fact, it had quite a few. Now, because of its sort of, dare I say it, stubby wings, it was able to outmaneuver some fighter aircraft. Lancasters could not move like this, all right, because of the short wings, because of the shorter wingspan. It was able to do some evasive maneuvers, and turn rate was amazing on these things. So there you go. There's a little thumbs up, number one. It could take a lot of battering because it was so big. The wings were thicker, protecting the fuel tanks a little bit, I guess. It could literally take a beating and get crew home, all right? It wasn't easy to take off, I heard. At just under 7 meters of height, which was incredible. And the other thing as well, that in the end, because of what they realised, hang on a minute, this is made to take 14,000 pound of bombs. Let's turn it into something else. And they did. They actually were able to, because of the power at 282 miles per hour, with a service ceiling of, okay, 16,500 with guns as well. This was a perfect towing aircraft. So from Brize Norton and RAF Fairford, they would tow the Horsa and other gliders to D-Day, because it was quicker. The cruising speed was at 200. This was more efficient and better, shall we say, than taking a Dakota. All because it was made to carry 14,000 pound of bombs. Well, if it couldn't do that, well, it became the bomber that didn't bomb in the end, towards the end, because others were using it to tow crew. The Horsa glider, what, 28? Plus you can take whatever you can in this. They even used this for clandestine missions as well, to take our spies from RAF Tempsford. They even used this with 218 involved in the D-Day preparations, a spoof mission called Operation Glimmer. 218 took on with that with the Royal Navy. They dropped what we call today chaff, which was called window. Chaff are like little bits of metal that absolutely cause chaos with enemy radars, because they think, oh, here they are, they're coming. Wrong, it's just bits of metal. So in a good light, this really did prove itself in the end, bless it. And it was here. And then eventually 149 and 199 squadrons, they went to Lakenheath and served there till 1943. So there we go. So with lots of bomber squadrons arriving here, ladies, gents and teddy bears, from Hayford bombers, from Wellingtons to Stirlings. There was even Halifaxes, until eventually it became a Lancaster base as well, for the base. But before we get to that, on the 31st of May 1942, it was 18 Wellingtons of 419 Squadron and 17 from 149 took part in the 1,000 bomber raid, a huge raid, bombing raid against Cologne and German cities. And in this raid, 1,047 aircraft were dispatched. Something like Just short of 600 were Wellington bombers in that, by the way. It was the most aircraft in the 1,000 bomber raid. From 622 Squadron, 15 Squadron, lots of squadrons started to arrive here with the Lancaster bombers, and along with Halifax bombers as well. On the 22nd of March 1944, Lancaster and Halifax bombers from Mildenhall took part in the first major raid against Berlin, and the raid consisted of more than 800 bombers from several bases, and it marked the end of what Bomber Command called the Battle of Berlin. D-Day operations, 35 Lancasters took off from Mildenhall, including 15 and 622 squadrons. On the 7th, 33 Lancasters attacked targets in Lisieux in France as well. So it was very much involved. This was a base very important, like many bases of our Royal Air Force during World War II. Until eventually, after the war, it was time for Strategic Air Command, which started to happen during the Cold War, but we'll get to that. It was still operated as a Royal Air Force Base right up to 1950, with a joint operations with the United States Air Force, who arrived here as a joint operation until 1959. And Mildenhall's been a base of the United States Air Force since 1959. The base was resurfaced in 1948. It did plan to have a operational conversion unit for the new Avro Lincoln, which was the upgraded Lancaster. B-29s, WB-50 Super Fortresses, and then eventually, like I said, the lots of bombardment squadrons started to arrive. The B-29s, B-47s, B-52s, B-50s, B-47 Stratojets, all here, started to arrive from 1950. And it was in 51 the first B-29s were stationed at Mildenhall, so we had B-29s. Oh yes. KC-97Es, Silk Purses, and then from 1959, that was it. It was solely operated by the United States Air Force. Lake and Eef operated as US Air Force from 1948. In 1974 it was time for the SR-71s. There was a trip from New York to London which took only an hour and 55 minutes to cover 3,479.41 miles to achieve a new record. At the time, the SR-71 flew more than 3 times the speed of sound, and it was on the September the 13th 1974 the SR-71 departed Mildenhall for a record-setting flight to LA. The trip took 3 hours and 47 minutes, and that covered 5,446.86 miles. Wow! April the 1st, 1978, the SR-71 returned to Mildenhall. This was the result of the 9th Strategic Reconnaissance Wing, Detachment 4, which moved to Mildenhall to oversee temporary duties along with the U-2 as well. And this kind of symbolised kind of a landmark when the arrival of the SR-71 again, you know, with the 9th Reconnaissance. It's really, for those that have fond memories of the SR-71s with their 35mm cameras, this was really an unbelievable place. I can only imagine, because I wasn't there at the time. And then the next major change would be the one we have today, and that's of the 100th Air Refeuling Wing, who activated here on the 1st of February 1992. It replaced the 513th Airborne Command and Patrol Wing, which redesignated on June 18th, 1987. They brought with them the KC-135s, and they're operated by the 351st Air Refeuling Squadron. Now, the 100th Air Refeuling Wing, if you notice, their nickname is the Bloody 100th. And you're probably thinking, hang on a minute, I know that squadron, or I know that group. That's the... I've seen that. I've seen that before. And there you go. Oh, I recognise that square D, because you're absolutely right. Their lineage goes back to the 100th Bomb Group. And this was the square D that they had on their B-17s. And they are, as far as I know, the only wing to operationally, and that there is a difference. You can fly it commemoratively, but they fly this operationally, and it is the only World War II tail marking in operation today. So that's something. And like I said, their lineage dates back, I mean, from the very first of its sort of creation, which happened on the 1st of June 1942 with the US Army Air Forces. They activated as the 100th Bomb Group. And remember, when you're doing this sort of history, to remember the difference between group and wing. All right, there is although they may have the same lineage, doesn't always work out with the same number. Do be careful, because there was a 48th training wing in World War II in America, which had nothing to do, well, as far as I know, the lineage does not link with the 48th that we know today. So do be mindful of that. Don't get caught out. Or at least there was a 48th training squadron as well. Again, no connection, just the number, but no lineage. You have to do your research with that. Make sure you do that. But and this is all because if you go back to May 1943, the 100th Bomb Group, they flew their route, the North Atlantic route to England and into the war in Europe. Their men set sail on the Queen Elizabeth, bound for Poddington, and then eventually, not too far from here in Diss, Norfolk, RAF Fort Abbott Station 139. That's where they were with the square D. That was on their B-17s. There were 4 squadrons, there's only 1 today, and it was the same one. The tail code was the letter D in a square, and I've mentioned before what the square means. There were 3 shapes of the 8th Air Force: a triangle, a circle, and a square. The triangle was the 1st Air Division. The circle, usually on B-24s, was the 2nd Air Division, and the square was the 3rd Air Division. And then each letter just meant a different bomb group, and it was done not randomly. There wasn't a system, as in there wasn't a very obvious way to denominate the squadron or the group, so shall we say. Although there were squadron markings, Echo Papa was the 351st, by the way. It was off the top of my head, just on the fuselage. But yeah, they used that, so it was done that way, and it was in Fort Abbott. And the connection is, oh, by the way, on their KC-135s, the nose art that featured on their B-17s is on the port side of the KC-135s today, which I find absolutely not only mesmerising but very, very special. And because they came back to the UK and not so far away, this is why I believe they made the decision to honour the use and continue the legacy of the 100th Bomb Group. Well, it's a quiet one today. We may be packing up early today, ladies, gents, steady bears. We are moving on. Yeah, we'll do that now then, Ted. This is the... Okay. Okay, shall we head over to Lakenheath then, Teddy? What do you reckon? Maybe calling it a day now and heading over to Lakenheath, if that's alright with all of you. And I will get you a show later in the afternoon. Kevin Nottingham, how you doing? Nikos, why don't you talk about the Whitley bomber? Good question. Not something I come across that often. Maybe it's overshadowed. I will have a look. I'll have to do a little bit more research. Yes, of course, there was the Whitley bomber. I don't really connect with it because of the fact... sorry, it's probably the wrong way to say that. I don't really mention it because of the fact that all the bases that I go to didn't have it. Which that would be the reasons why. I would only mention it if it was here. So, I mean, I know of it. I think we mentioned it at Coningsby. Margot, thank you very much. Thanks for the super. Guards March. Matthew Clark, thanks for the 21 months membership. Key to the door 21. I'm hoping the key is to have Wingy's personal port cabinet at the back of the POC to celebrate this wonderful channel in style. Thank you. Reagan Doyle, high five. Guards March, thank you very much. Hanosaurus Rex, welcome to the TCF Fighter Squadron. High five, thank you for that. Russell Moore, 9 months membership, great place to be. Many thanks for the streams. Guards March, thank you very much. Davey, thank you very much for 28 months. And Cody Whitlock, 20 months as well. Thank you all so much. Right, ladies, gents, teddy bears, we are going to go to Lakenheath. We're going. We'll do it now, Ted. We'll do it now. Let's hit the button quickly. We may get you a show at Lakenheath. Ladies, gents, teddy bears, a short one. RAF Mildenhall, thank you very much. My viewers, I'll be right back on a part 2 somewhere else. So not for the last time for today. See you soon. Wish you well. Teddy, let's get on over. Oh yeah, ladies, sheds and teddy bears, welcome to the Ted Coningsby channel membership. I'm Nikos, I'm your cameraman and commentator. This is our squadron leader, Ted Coningsby. Just want to say a massive thank you to all our members. Guns up and oh yeah. Take it away, Ted. Ladies, sheds and teddy bears, we want to say a massive thank you to all of our subscribers for getting us to where we are today. We have gone all over the country, from as far as Lossiemouth to Brize Norton, and military areas such as air weapons ranges, low flying areas, heritage centres and special flights for TED 2. We cannot do this without your support, and your support will be rewarded. You can now join the Ted Coningsby Squadron and help fund the channel to get us around the country and provide us with the funds for equipment to bring you better content too. We have 3 exciting membership levels with awesome YouTube perks to reward you back for your support. Our first level of membership is the Ted Coningsby Squadron. You'll get a loyalty badge on YouTube, unique TCS emojis that you can use on comments and live streams, members only videos which include behind the scenes, deleted scenes, sneak previews and also music videos that Ted likes to play the electric guitar on. You'll also get access to members only Discord server and discount on all of our Ted Coningsby merchandise. All of this for just $1.99 a month. Oh yeah. Our second level of membership is the Posh Officers Club. This includes all of the squadron perks, private Posh Officers Discord chat room, Posh Officers discounts on all of our Ted Coningsby merchandise, and the poshness of supporting the TCS even more. This is just £4.99 a month.
Our third level was inspired by many of our fans who have been supporting the channel massively. So we'd love to reward you back with this, and our third level of membership is the Ted Coningsby Fighter Squadron. This gives you a more personal experience with me and Ted, with exclusive live streams and content. You'll get a free Ted Coningsby Fighter Squadron patch, a private Ted Coningsby Fighter Squadron Discord chat room, a gold colour Discord username, and a higher discount on all of our Ted Coningsby merchandise. All this for just $25.99 a month. Ladies, gents and teddy bears, the Ted Coningsby channel cannot thank you enough for all your support, and it's this support that keeps the dream, keeps the stream. Thank you so much. Aw, yeah.
Golf India, Brize Norton,